The goal of this DVD is to show and explain the art of rowing, the art of moving the boat. Almost everyone knows that having big athletes with very good ergometer scores does not guarantee having a fast boat. We will try to answer the questions like, why do some boats move easier and faster than others? Why are some athletes considered good boat movers and others so-called anchors? And why are some top lightweights competitive with heavyweight boats? Let's watch some of the best rowers in the world and see why they are the best boat movers. These strokes on the firm paddle by the 2004 Olympic gold medalist Australian pair of James Tomkins and Drew Ginn are a great example of a classic and efficient rowing technique. Tomkins and Ginn's technique is flawless. When we watch these two rowers, we see that the boat is running with an easy, constant speed. The athletes are very relaxed, almost lazy during the recovery and during the drive. They do not appear to be pulling hard, but the boat is moving a great distance with each stroke. The athletes are in perfect sync with the boat. All motions are very well related to the speed of the boat. There is not any dramatic or abrupt acceleration or deceleration. The boat flows as if the rowers and boat are one. You can see a very short hesitation at the release. This creates a specific rhythm. It defines the end of the stroke, it gives the boat time to run, and it also defines the beginning of the next stroke, the next recovery. That is a very simple way of rowing, perfect for every level, from beginners up to Olympic champions. The 2008 Olympic champion Women's 8 shows a very similar way of rowing, very relaxed and very efficient. We see a similar hesitation at the finish, and then one gliding motion forward, finished by the direct placement of the blade in the water. The USA Men's 8 looks a little bit different than the two previous boats. The general rhythm is dictated by a very deliberate but fluid motion out of the bow. Hands, body, slide, without any hesitation at the release. We still see the same good relaxation of the athletes in the boat. The catch might not be as quick, but it is very direct. The key point is to get the bend in the shaft immediately after the first contact with the water. The athletes create a long stroke by having a little more body swing at the end of the drive. All of the previous crews are good boat movers. Now let's talk about the principles of moving the boat. Despite the common perception, we do not pull the blades through the water. On the contrary, we lock them in the water and then we push the boat past the blades. Here's an illustration. Notice that the distance between the blade and the red buoy is not changing during the stroke. The blade stays firm in the water and the boat is pushed past the blade. In order to do this correctly, we need blade placement, which will lock the blade in the water, and then we need a very patient push of the boat past the blade. Here's another example of perfect boat moving skill. It is a practice start executed by our 2004 Olympic gold medal 8 before the race. Notice how they place the blades and then patiently move the boat. They finish each stroke and then gradually increase the cadence with the increased speed of the boat. These examples very clearly demonstrate the mechanics of how we move the boat. It is obvious that the placement of the blade in the water is essential to being able to move the boat. Beside that, the secured blade in the water allows the athletes to suspend on the oar handle and produce the force necessary to push the boat. The fact that the boat is moved past the blade locked in the water makes placement of the blade and the rest of the blade work the most important skills of the stroke. But before we can talk about the placement in detail, we have to mention two factors prerequisite to the correct execution of the stroke. They are relaxation and body preparation. As we see, the athletes are very relaxed during the whole stroke. This relaxation allows the rowers correct and efficient execution of every element of the stroke. Slide forward, catch, drive, and the finish of the stroke without any disturbance to the run of the boat. The core is firm enough to ensure proper body position. The shoulders are down, but hold the arms out straight. The hands are loose, but with enough of a grip to hold the oar. The other prerequisite of a good catch is body preparation. By half slide, the arms are completely stretched, the body is in maximum reach position, and the athletes are preparing to continue gliding forward and place the blade in the water. The body preparation can be done in two different ways. The first one is a very deliberate way. The motion out of bow starts with the hands, then body, followed by the slide with some separation in between. The second approach to body preparation is to make it one motion. The same sequence out of bow, hands, body, slide, but without too much separation in between. There's a small acceleration of the hands just before the end of the slide to be able to make the catch precisely with the end of the slide and just before any pressure is put on the footboards. This approach to the catch is very characteristic for boats rowing with a little pause at the finish of the stroke. The placement of the blade is the most important part of the stroke, but it is also the most difficult. The athletes have to put the blade into the water as they are moving towards the stern of the boat, while the boat is moving in the opposite direction. A good catch is a combination of feeling, synchronization, and timing of the different motions. During the recovery, the blade travels to the bow on a smooth horizontal plane at a steady height. Squaring of the blade before the catch starts as the hands go over the ankles. It is done without slowing down the motion of the oar handle as it moves towards the stern. The last part of squaring is also the beginning of the scooping motion of the blade into the water. This scooping motion is done by raising the hands up as the athlete is coming to the top of the slide. At this point, some coaches talk about using gravity and dropping the blade into the water, and other coaches use a combination of raising hands and a small lift of the back. They are both acceptable. As we see, the athlete was able to place the blade in the water without losing compression. Shins in the vertical position, body is still at maximum reach. It means he was able to place the blade before he pushed his legs, as part of the recovery, not as part of the drive. Once the blade is locked in the water, we can start to move the boat. To do so, the rower needs to keep steady pressure on the face of the blade from the catch to the release. The patient and efficient push of the boat means keeping the blade locked in the water during the whole stroke and pulling hard but without tearing the water. In other words, a green puddle without too much white water. Coming to the end of the drive, the athletes keep steady pressure on the face of the blade and the footboards. The release of the blade from the water starts with the outside hand pushing the oar handle down, followed by the inside hand feathering the blade. Let's have a look at the total picture of the blade work. We notice a very direct, quick, but not hard, not too deep catch which perfectly locks the blade in the water. The blade stays locked during the entire stroke. We do not see any ripping of the blade through the water, no white water. We see patient pressure on the blade and a very efficient push of the boat. The release of the stroke is very simple. The blades are coming out as the athletes sit at the finish and draw the oar handle to the body. Once the blade is secure in the water, the athlete is able to hang or suspend their body weight on the oar handle to produce the force that moves the boat. This is an example of a classic sequential type of power application: legs, back, arms. After the catch, the body is suspended on the oar handle and is horizontally moving backwards. All the work is done by the legs only, and it looks like passive hanging without any pulling at all. Now we are coming to the middle of the drive. The blades are almost perpendicular to the boat, the most efficient part of the stroke. There's some knee angle left. The seat is in the last quarter of the slide. The upper body is suspended in a vertical position, and a very important point, the arms are still straight. Now the last push of the legs down will initiate the beginning of the body swing. This overlap of upper body over the leg drive guarantees good connection and steady pressure on the face of the blade. Coming to the release of the stroke, the athlete continues to press the footboards and continues hanging as the hands draw to the body. This creates a very strong and tall position with the chest behind the oar handle, and it is important to keep the outside elbow and wrist on a horizontal plane as the forearm is drawn past the body. One motion power application usually means a little shorter stroke, less body angle at the release, and a little taller body position at the catch. It's the same sequence, starting the drive with the legs, then body, then arms. There is less separation and more overlapping between each groups of muscles, in effect creating a one motion stroke, a very compact type of stroke. The leg drive is more aggressive. It means a little more stepping on the footboards and a little more suspension. This type of power application is very suitable for the faster boats, but it can be too powerful for small boats. Too much suspension, too much pressure at the beginning of the stroke. Athletes have to be very fit or they will run out of gas during the last part of the race. The rhythm is an important characteristic of an efficient rowing technique. It's important to every boat, but it's even more important to the big boats like the eights. It's dictated by some elements of the stroke, focus points. For instance, pause at the release, or hands fast out of bow, or a very slow slide, repeated consistently every stroke. Rowing with a pronounced rhythm, the crew develops a good automation of the focus points and will be able to transfer them to the racing cadence. Uniformity among the athletes is not so important as long as the focus points are executed together. With good rhythm, the crew reaches a state of flow. It means that everything looks easy, effortless, and is happening by itself. There is not any excitement, haste, or panic in any part of the stroke. All changes of direction are smooth and fluid. Good rhythm and flow increases the efficiency of the boat at racing cadence. The rhythm of this gold medal British men's four from Athens is created by a short pause of the hands at the release, relaxed slide, and one motion type power application. This boat is the silver medal Canadian men's four from the same race. The rhythm of this boat is different. The focus point is a swing to the bow and out of bow, which sends the boat, without paying too much attention to the uniformity of body motion. The rhythm of this Australian men's four is characterized by a pause at the release, the direct placement of the blade in the water, followed by an easy and patient drive. Here we have the U.S. men's 8. The boat has an easy and relaxed rhythm. The focus point is on moving the boat. It means a relaxed slide, direct placement of the blade, not too hard, just enough to lock the blades in the water, followed by the patient and quiet release. All motions are in sync with the run of the boat. It is one continuous flow. The famous Romanian women's 8 has a rhythm that emphasizes a quick drive through the water and a dynamic rebound of the hands out of the bow, followed by an exaggerated slow slide. This rhythm, with a focus on the rebound of the hands, becomes much smoother at racing cadence. The rhythm of the Dutch women's 8 is characterized by a relaxed slide, followed by an easy, effortless drive. It seems that the athletes are moving in perfect sync with the run of the boat. The rhythm of the U.S. women's 8 is quite similar to the Dutch women's 8. We see the focus is to get a good feeling for moving the boat, with a relaxed slide, easy catch, and a patient drive, with the idea being that the athletes will be able to transfer this feeling to the racing cadence. We hope that we were able to demonstrate the importance of boat moving skills. It means the importance of the catch and the importance of a patient drive. Good feeling for the boat can compensate for not very good erg scores. It can also compensate for not perfect uniformity of the crew. It's still nice to see that winning a race is not just pure fitness, but there is a lot left to the feeling for the boat and for the art of coaching rowing technique.